Hey book besties, it's me. I'm gonna be back at it again to give you a library book haul. I have a big announcement coming up about my involvement with the Delaware Libraries coming up very soon, but first make sure to subscribe to the tribe down below. And without further ado, let's get started. So I've decided to break this video up into 3 different sections. There is a YA, a nonfiction, and a fiction section. You can find the chapter marks down in the description box, so feel free to hop down there and check it out. As we step into the YA section, let's get into some manga madness. I am a huge animation fan, and I've noticed lately that I haven't been watching as much anime, especially new anime. So I decided that instead of trying to jam pack or figure out what cool anime is up next, I just went over into the young adult section and I found a manga series that looked like it was right up my alley. I didn't know much about this series, but I could tell from the cover as soon as I picked it up and just the name of it, The Ancient Magus Bride, that it was going to be something right up my alley. Now, the most exciting part about this is that most Delaware libraries have a YA section, but in Rehoboth Beach Library, that particular YA section is one of my favorites. It's literally so light and airy, but there also is a huge manga section. So I'm always drawn over there, but I never end up getting anything. So I'm glad I got this series. And funny enough, when I was checking out, one of the books would not scan. So they ended up giving it to me. And I was like, oh, what a great day. So I'm really excited to get into this series. It seems like 15-year, it gives me like Inuyasha kind of vibes. It seems like a 15-year-old girl wandered deep into the forest and gets sold into like essentially human trafficking, and she gets sold to a mage who originally wants her to be her apprentice. I haven't gotten super far into it, but eventually I think she becomes the bride, and there are 4 whole editions within this series that I've seen so far, and the wiki page is super active, so that lets me know it has a fan base that loves it. So I'm really excited. I know a lot of people are hesitant to pick up manga because of like how you actually situate to read the book, but luckily my last year of school I did Arabic, so writing from right to left became something I was a little more comfortable with. So I would definitely recommend you get into manga if you love anime and you also love to read, because they're cool, easy reads. Now, next up in the YA section, we have to talk about my absolute obsession with all things fantasy. Especially whenever I'm picking up a new fantasy, I usually tend to go towards diverse reads from authors that I very much enjoy. I most recently read a book from this author called Tender Beast that just came out at the end of February. I would highly recommend it, and please stay tuned because there will be a book review that is coming with that. But we have to talk about Delicious Monsters by Lizelle Samberry. I am so excited to read this. Now, one thing I will tell you about Lizelle Samberry that I really enjoy is her way of being able to talk about very sensitive and traumatizing events using magical realism and fantasy elements. From the plot that I was able to kind of glean, it is a dual perspective narrative that's centering a haunted house. It's a thriller, and the main character that we follow for the majority of it has the ability to be able to talk to the dead and communicate with the dead. So I am so excited for this. One thing I do always trust Lizelle Samberry to do is talk about very dark and I don't even know, very dark and like macabre, that's the word that I want to say, macabre themes that pop up within family dynamics that especially affect the Black community. So that's something I really enjoy. I'm really looking forward to this. In that same vein of YA fantasy, also funny enough, about a young boy who's a medium. It's called The Taking of Jake Livingston. This is by Ryan Douglas. I haven't ever read anything by Ryan Douglas, but I have heard about this book over and over again. I am a big fan of Kaylin Bayron, and I have a special announcement for that, but that's for another video. I will tag it above if it is already out, but by the time you're seeing this, I can't wait. But The Taking of Jake Livingston, it not only is taking place in like very competitive and not super diverse private academy, high school academy, where young Jake Livingston is probably one of the only black kids and is dealing with institutional racism. But also on top of that, there was a very gruesome school event. Honey, I'm literally so excited to read it. It doesn't seem super long, but it gives me like it's going to be one of those fast-paced books that I'm like, oh, I need more. So I'm really excited to read this. Yes. We have Ace of Spades by...
Hi, my name is Farida Abike Imide, and I am the author of Ace of
Farida Abike Iyemide. Oh my gosh! Don't take my African card. But Ace of Spades, I'm very excited because this is a YA thriller, which you are going to see quite a bit of those sprinkled out. I was very excited about this because another YA thriller that I finished in the month of February that you're going to see in a very late but very honest February wrap up called Their Vicious Game. Somebody described Their Vicious Game as Ace of Spades meets Squid Game, so I was like, I gotta read Ace of Spades. And when I walked into Rehoboth Beach Library again, it was literally sitting right there for me, as well as The Taking of Jake Livingston. So shout out to Diverse Reads. But I'm really excited because this is also in elite academia and it talks and touches on institutional racism. I believe there is also, I don't know if it's enemies to lovers, but it's definitely enemies trope. Or rivals. Maybe rivals is a better word. On the cover it says, how do you stop an unknown enemy? Oh, I really enjoyed Their Vicious Game. So I'm really looking forward to not only another YA thriller, but a YA thriller with a diverse narrative. Rounding out our YA section, we have the Rosewood Hunt. Now, this is not a diverse read, but it is relatively new. I'm so excited because I actually picked this up in Millsboro Public Library. I was very excited because this was in the new fiction section. This came out November 2023, which is so very new, especially when it comes to the library. And there are even newer publications that are listed within this particular video. So I'm so excited about this. Essentially, the main character inherits a ridiculous fortune from her grandmother, but the fortune is missing, and her and 3 of her other teen friends have to go on a treasure hunt in order to find it and basically prove her worthiness to lead the family. I am so excited about this. First of all, the cover pulled me in. Mackenzie Reed, you did your big one on this one. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be a especially long read. Yeah, it's only 355 pages, which I know can be kind of gruesome to some people, but for me, as you can see with like Delicious Monsters and Ace of Spades, light work. So I'm very excited about this one because, again, I'm really into thriller and mystery, but I'm so excited that my library has books that are so new. So that makes me very happy. Let's start to dance into the regular fiction. You guys are going to laugh at me, but I only have one book that I'm going to discuss in regular fiction and another I'm going to hint at because, again, I'm going to do a book wrap up on February talking about the other book in this section, but it's going to be relatively small, but it's still mighty. We have a mystery called The Paris Apartment. This actually was recommended to me by a librarian in the Lewis Public Library. As soon as I walked by it, she literally was like, you need to grab that book, you're gonna love it, because she had seen a mystery book that I had turned in. So I love mystery and thriller. That's another amazing thing about the library. They get to know you by what you read, which is so intimate and so helpful. So I thought that was really a great thing. Another really great thing about the library, especially Delaware Public Libraries, being in such a small town, you can definitely meet some really great people in the library system. This is by Lucy Foley. Or Foley. I never know which one. The main character is going to Paris in order to live with her brother to get like a fresh start. I believe after a breakup or just like a mental breakdown, but her brother is missing and she is trying to piece together what happened to her brother, meeting the neighbors, and she's suspicious of everybody around her to try to figure out what actually happened to her brother. I was like, yes, very much that. This is actually going to be the next book that I read. I'm currently reading Jackal by Aaron E. Adams. So once I finish that, this is the next book that I'm going to read because it's the next one that's going to come up due. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily going to take me a long time, but I do want to take my time on it. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I love the way that I've kind of been thrown into mystery and thriller lately. I've always been such a fantasy and like adventure girl that the mystery and thriller have really kind of ramped up in my TBRs lately. I want to also just slightly mention Matt Haig's The Midnight Library. I did a little bit of a review on this on TikTok, so if you're not following me on there, it's Whimsically Grown. You should definitely check that out. But The Midnight Library literally is the first 5 stars of 2024 for me. I was so moved by this book. I identified with the main character, Nora Seed, so it got me out of my YA fantasy and more into like general fiction. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to read The Paris Apartment. Now, though The Midnight Library is general fiction, it's not a mystery, even though there is some mysterious, like, mysterious elements to it. If you have some fiction recommendations for me that are non-YA or diverse reads, please let me know down in the comments. I am so appreciative of it. So next, we're moving into the nonfiction section of this haul, and the nonfiction section is broken up into 2 parts. One is nonfiction narrative and the other is nonfiction reference. So we'll start first in the narrative section with this book that you probably have been looking at quite a bit. It's called Page Boy by Elliot Page. I am so excited by this. This is also another pretty new read. It's from June of 2023, which is super new, but I was very surprised when I saw this because memoirs are right up my alley and I'm a big fan of Elliot Page. So I was so interested as soon as I picked it up. And it just talks essentially not only about sexuality, but gender identity and the transition that happened not only within Elliot Page, obviously within their body, but also within their perspective about sexuality, about gender identity. And I'm so interested in reading this, not only because the cover is so cool, but also because I really respect Elliot Page's craft, and I'm interested to get a little bit more insight into his private life, because we don't really know that much about him. And I don't know, I felt like the Umbrella Academy is one of the first places where I really saw Elliot Page like dress down and really get raw in a character, even though every single thing that he plays is so moving. I don't know, I picked this up because I was so drawn to it and I'm really excited to read about it. So make sure you guys, if you're ever interested in what I'm currently reading, make sure to follow me not only on Goodreads but also on Lemonade. I post a lot of my reading content, what I'm currently reading on there. I also put up updates on my Goodreads, as well as my TikTok. So if you're interested in following any of those, I'm Whimsically Grown all the way through, and you can find the links to all of my additional social medias down in the description box. Great. So up next is Letters to My Daughter. Now, I saw this within Millsboro Public Library when I walked in. It was one of the displays for Women's History Month, and I was very excited because I love all things Maya Angelou, but especially her prose. And I think it's because she's such an interesting storyteller that her poetry, I think, does it. But I think there also is something so interesting when she allows herself to get outside of form, because Maya Angelou is like an orator. Like, you can hear her saying the things that she writes. So this particular book is called Letter to My Daughter, and though she doesn't have any biological daughters, this book is dedicated to all the young women that she has moved through her writing. Combination of lessons she's learned and stories that relate to things she would have imparted on her own daughter. I was just so drawn to this book. I had to pick it up. Again, this isn't a super long read, but I wanted to add it to my March TBR list. I wanted to honor one of the women that has inspired me. If you didn't know, I am also a poet and just a writer of all sorts, and Maya Angelou definitely was a large turning point in my life when I realized that I didn't have to rely so much on form and the structure of a poem, and more about what it's saying and who it's saying it to. So very excited for this one. So now we are coming to the final section within the nonfiction section, which is a nonfiction reference. So I did get 2 books. I got 2 reference books here. If you don't know, I did introduce myself a little bit in the first ever upload I had, which was my booktube newbie tag, which you can find tagged up below. But I spoke briefly about my love of astrology and spirituality and the occult, and learning more about it has really helped me learn more about myself. It's helped me do a deeper introspection and be more aware of myself. So I was very, very excited to kind of delve into both of these. The first book that I picked up was, I believe, at Lewis Public Library. It also was in the front nonfiction section, but a dream dictionary. It literally is what it advertises, Interpret the Secret of Your Dreams by Teresa Cheng. I was really excited about this because I've been having very vivid dreams lately, and usually, you know, I am a very spiritual woo-woo girly. Whenever I have very vivid dreams, it usually means that something big is coming, which it is, and I will be announcing at the end, so make sure you guys stay tuned. But this dream dictionary helped me put a lot of things in perspective, because not only are dreams sometimes prophetic looks into the future, but they also help you sort through things that maybe you don't even realize are bothering you in that moment. So I'm very appreciative to this dream dictionary. It has been very helpful. Now, the other thing that I picked up is the astrology reference book. It's called Using the Wisdom of the Stars in Your Everyday Life. This is by Carol Taylor. I am so impressed by this. Not only is it like visually beautiful to look at, but it also is so easy to understand. It breaks down not only the different signs, but different houses, how different placements within those houses work, and how they're connected to our everyday life, how we want to show up and how we want to be heard. Oh my gosh, it is such a good read. I was so excited to pick this one up. So and it's been really, really helpful. I picked this one up in Rehoboth Beach Public Library, funny enough, in the YA section, but I wanted to put it in the nonfiction section just because again, you see, I ventured, but I didn't venture too far outside of my norm. Well, that brings us to the end of the haul, which means that I have to reveal to you all my big announcement as it relates to the library. But first, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so that you get notified every single time I drop a new video. My big special announcement with the library is that I have just accepted a position at one of Delaware's most prestigious libraries. I'm so excited to get started. My first day is Monday, so funny enough, when this is getting uploaded, I'll probably be in training. I would really appreciate some encouraging words down below, because not only have I been a lover of libraries since I was very small, but it's so nice to be able to give back to a community that in such a short amount of time has supported me and uplifted me in such a wonderful and moving way. I am never going to stop advocating for books and literacy and diversity, but I'm so excited to be able to work alongside an organization that has such similar morals and values as me. So I'm really, really excited. I am a bit nervous, but I'm really excited to get started. So if you haven't already, make sure to give me a follow on Lemonade, TikTok, and Goodreads so that you can get my current reading and updated status. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and don't forget to support your local libraries. Bye!